Welcome to Cup of Jess, where the coffee's hot, the truth is hotter, and we're spilling all the real, raw business moves no one talks about. No fluff, just facts. Let's get into it. Welcome to A Cup of Jess, where we discover a little bit of everything. And today we have a special guest, Nadia, that she is a CPA. I wanted to make sure to have her in my show because it's a big deal. You know, it's a big deal to have you here. Not only she drove from Dallas, Texas, but she is also going to be telling us about the one big beautiful bill, right?
Yes,
Thank you so
that's the
much.
biggest thing right now. But thank you so much for having me, for inviting me. I know we go back maybe about a year when we met, and it was all Josh that reached out to me through Instagram.
Yes, it was Instagram. I was gonna say we communicated, and that's a big thing.
And yes, we did a FaceTime. I think it was like on a Sunday,
Yes,
but it was just two girls having a good time talking, getting to know each other.
absolutely. So I always tell my clients, my family, my friends that for the social media, we those platforms need to be used smart.
Yes,
So, because for me, it's either you're getting clients, you're putting out content, or you're making relations.
yes.
So, I do want to say thank you for being here, Nadia. Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I'm coming from Dallas. I wasn't born in Dallas. I was actually born in Chicago. And I
Ooh.
went through a journey of my life where we moved from Chicago when I was 12 years old to Mexico. And I lived there for 5 years. And if you've been in Mexico as a Mexican American, it's a hard transition, especially if you move from a big city to a small little town in Mexico. But after a year of adjustments, I loved living in Mexico, loved feeling part of a community, feeling from where I come from. And then after 5 years, my parents decided to move us back to the US, but we landed in Dallas. I was 17 years old. And I tell this story to everyone because it was the year 2000. And
Mm.
for me to move from a small little town to Dallas, Texas in the year 2000 when Y2K was happening, I had
Yes.
never seen a computer in my life before. So that was another cultural shock for me. And that's where I started my senior year in high school. And I've been in Dallas ever since.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. And I completely understand where you're coming from because I mean, one, you got the best of both worlds, like the culture and also here of like the life of the United States, right? I also, whenever I was 2 years old, my mom sent me over to El Salvador with my grandma, which I was there for like 2, 3 years with her, and then every summer I would go back. So it was funny because you would go back to, once you go back to your country, and it's like the kids over there, they're like, what do you mean you can't climb a tree? Like, we're look at us, and you're just like, oh, you can't climb it, and it's like, I don't know. So yeah, it's completely like it's like an identity crisis, right, that you have sometimes. It's like
It is. It is, but it's an amazing, in retrospect, you're very grateful for the experience.
correct,
And I
correct.
think that has taught me in life to when you're with challenges, always know
Mhm.
it'll get better. Just hold on, live through it, learn from it, and then we can learn from our experiences from there.
No, that's amazing. So, you went to college in Dallas?
I in Denton, Texas. So
Denton.
yeah, we stayed close to home. It's maybe about 45 minutes away from Dallas. I went to college, and funny story, I went in with not really knowing what I wanted to be. I knew I loved math, and I picked accounting thinking it was all going to be about math. And
Right.
really, accounting is just about adding and subtracting and not really too involved in calculations of finding the X value. But once I was in it, I really started to like accounting, and why I chose get my master's in tax is a different story, which is
Ooh,
very
can't wait to hear that
interesting.
one.
I went through an IRS audit myself.
Oh,
I was
wow.
no, I was 18, and I was an independent contractor receiving a
1099.
1099 NEC. Had no idea. I had been receiving a W-2 from a retail job before that.
Oh.
And so I walk into H&R Block, and they do my tax return, and they told me I was going to owe about $2,000. I thought they were completely wrong, that they had no idea what they were doing because last year I had received a refund, a small refund, but I received a refund.
Right.
So what did I do? I asked around, and somebody said, well, you need to go to such and such lady. She is the one who's really good at taxes and knows how to do refunds. And that's exactly 18-year-old. I drove about 30 miles away from home and went up to her apartment. She lived in a little apartment. I sat at her couch, And she came out with her tax return, with my tax return, and said, "Oh, you're getting $4,000 back." I said, "I knew it. I
Wow.
knew H&R Block did not know what they were doing."
So this is exactly what we were talking about
Yes.
earlier, that you can't go with the
No.
biggest refund.
No, you have to ask the questions, and I didn't. What I did was trust 110% in that person. All I heard was the amount of refund I was getting, and that's all I had to know. I didn't want to ask questions. I was good. And I honestly did not think I should ask questions. I just thought, well, I'm paying her to prepare my return.
Yes, and
She
they
should know
have
what they're doing.
people, like clients, think that okay, you know what you're doing. That's why I'm hiring a professional,
A professional is what you think, right? Because
right?
taxes, the way taxes are, we know are intimidating. So, yes, we really need to understand at least your own personal situation. And 2 years later, I get audited. And they were
Wow.
asking for a lot of receipts related to self-employed health insurance. I was 18 under my dad's health insurance. I had no
Oh,
idea
okay,
what these
okay.
questions were about. I went to the audit, sweet lady, the IRS agent, but very stern, and taught me a lesson. And that's when I said, I need to know what's going on with this tax world. And
Correct.
that's when I chose my major, my master's in taxation, and I've loved it ever since. And my goal is to educate others and bring that awareness about tax. You don't have to be knowing the entire tax code, but at least understand to a point your own financial situation.
Correct. No, I absolutely admire you, not because you're a CPA, but also Latina. We need more Latina CPAs in the
Yes.
industry. And that's something that you might be like, well, you can do it too. But I just feel like sometimes you feel like, oh, it's too late already to go back to school. But honestly, I've been considering it, and
That's
to
amazing.
go back and get that CPA status,
I would be right
the
there
top of the
rooting for
top.
you and helping you along the way. I would love for you to choose that route and go down for the
Yes.
CPA. I will tell you it's not easy.
Correct.
Um, I failed one of the sections 3 times, and it
Wow.
wasn't until finally I said, "I can't do self-study." I paid, to attend the class in person,
Okay.
and then I passed it. But it's one of those that you don't wanna give up.
Right.
Even if it gets hard, just try again.
And find the resources.
And definitely find the reasons and know when you need that help. Because when it comes more when we're an adult, doing that self study is so hard to get motivated, especially with kids and chores at the house,
Correct.
working a full time job,
Mhm.
running a company, for you to find that motivation. And it's never too late. I've been in this industry for 2 months where I went full board on self employment journey.
Ooh,
I am a full time entrepreneur,
congratulations.
and it really took me, I would say, about a year to finally make that decision. So it's never too late.
That's amazing.
And
'Cause I
always
know
try
when
it.
we
We're not getting
met,
younger.
yes, and when we met, you were like, "Well, I don't know, I'm still having my full-time job," and that's another thing that we're like, "No, make sure that,
Yes.
you really wanna take the step to become, solo entrepreneur and
Yes.
starting from scratch, because even though you do have your employment, it is scary, right? And even if you think like, "Okay, I have a couple clients, I can do this," it
Yes.
is scary.
And I did. I was running my side practice for over 15 years as a part-time,
Correct.
a side hustle is what I called it. But now it's full time. Not only did that, but I also run my online community for tax pros full
Oh,
time. Yeah, thank you.
congratulations. And that's something that it's always needed as a tax professional and a business owner, that we need to have those professionals by our side. So, what would you recommend the young Latinas that might be listening, that they're probably going to college and they just don't know if accounting, what words of encouragement you can give a young girl
Oh, definitely
to
ask
become a
questions.
CPA?
Yes, ask the questions. Don't be afraid to ask others for help. Because I think when I went into college, it was hard where my parents didn't understand the language. They didn't go through a college
Mhm.
application process to
Right.
FAFSA applications. And it was me really trying to figure this out on my own without really thinking about there's counselors, there's other students, there's organizations. And once I was in my second year of college, is where I found those organizations. There's Hispanic Society of CPAs, there's
Oh, wow.
Hispanic leagues of financial and accounting students. And it's really joining a community that can help you through the process and that is there to help you answer questions and walk you through it. because that's the hardest thing, to feel like you're alone in
Right.
something.
And do you think that is a cultural thing that we were just brought up that no, you don't ask no one for help. We're
You're
coming to this
brave,
country.
right?
Yes. And you can do it on your own. Don't ask for help. We came to work and that's it. Do you
Yes.
think it's a
I
cultural
I
thing?
think it is much of a cultural, and I think it's not very open in our community to ask for help, right?
Correct.
Or to help others. I feel like sometimes our community does a lot of gatekeeping where feel like they discovered the key to success. And so I'm going to hold it really close to my chest. But
Right.
we've known in the industry there is a huge demand for tax professionals. That industry, not that many people are going into the industry of
Mhm.
tax professionals, even less people are going in to become a CPA. And so the demand for us is there. And
It
it's just
is
going to take a little
very
bit of
high.
hard work and dedication for sure, and motivation and leaning on those around you, but you'll get through it.
Absolutely. And what about changing a little bit of the topic?
Mhm.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. What about the one big beautiful bill? Can you please tell us a little bit about
Yes.
what is happening? What should we expect as tax preparers and also the clients?
As tax preparers, I think we're going to work, every tax season, we work extremely hard. And we always feel like this season, it was because maybe clients brought their stuff late. We always we try to pinpoint a reason, right? And we
Right.
always try to think next year's going to get better. I'm going to be better about my boundaries. I'm going to be better about my deadlines. But then we have things like the tax code that changes on us. And so that the hardest thing, honestly, for this one big beautiful bill is the little guidance that we have out there. The one that I can think about is the no tax on tips and the no tax on overtime, which
Correct.
sounds amazing. Oh, yeah, I get to deduct if I earn tips, I get to deduct it up to 12,500 or 25,000, and if I work overtime, I can deduct it up to 12,500. And that sounds amazing, but the Form W-2, there's not gonna be any kind of reference of where we can find these amounts when we're preparing the tax returns. The
Seriously?
IRS said, "We're not changing it." You know, with the government being shut down,
Right.
they're limited in staff. They made it just official announcement, let us know and gave us a heads up. The 2025 tax forms for the Form W-2 and the 1099s are gonna look just like they have
Always
been in
been.
the
Hmm.
past. So how are we going to find out how much overtime that is? How much tips are included and that are qualified tips? And so
Correct.
it's going to be a lot of communication with our taxpayer clients. First, asking them the questions. Did you
Hmm.
work overtime and get paid for overtime? Which before we
Correct.
didn't really care.
Right.
Like, wages are wages and they're taxable. Now
Yes.
we're gonna have to get to know
But
our clients a little
that's
bit more.
interesting because then how is IRS gonna know what was overtime, what was tip if the business owner hasn't reported it,
And
right?
so it does say, and the thing is that there's not no clear guidance or conformity or unity on how this is going to be presented. It
Hmm.
really is to every employer, even payroll companies. How are they going to be presenting this? Is it going to be an attachment to the W-2 that
Correct.
hopefully does tell us the amount of overtime?
Hmm.
Should we rely on that? What it's going to leave us a little bit into, as a tax preparer, is keeping our records tight. Because
Right.
yes, if the IRS later comes back and says, "How did you figure out overtime?" Well, I have this report that was provided to me by the
Right.
employer that shows the amount of overtime.
So that's something that clients are gonna be having to get with their employer to keep that
And can you
tally
imagine
up.
that? And dealing with tax season. So now is the time
So pray
for
for us.
us. Yes, pray for us. And now, dear clients, start opening up those email inboxes, those messages from us, because we're trying to give you a heads up to start really paying attention to those paycheck stubs.
Correct.
Get familiar with your employment contract. You do get paid overtime or you don't. And how about your tip income? Are you in the industry of the food and beverage industry, or in an industry that usually gets paid tips? Usually, restaurants, it's going to be a little bit easier because we do have a box for tips.
Okay, yeah, that's
Are they
correct.
qualified tips? That's the amount I'm going to depend on. The one that I'm going to really struggle with in those clients that are small business owners,
Mhm.
like the barber, like the massage therapist, that they have their own business. When they're collecting the income from their clients, usually, is it on a report that shows total income, or are they allocating what is income versus what is tips collected?
That is true because
And
even whenever you go, like I usually go to Massage Heights, right?
yes.
You pay your massage, and then you get the tip to
To
the
your bill, right? You
exactly.
add it to your bill, and on your
Right.
bank, you have a deduction for the
Mhm.
100% amount of the service plus the tip.
Right, right.
So on the receiving end, your
Hmm.
client that is self-employed, are they keeping track of the division? And they
Exactly.
probably are not. So let's
And
ring the
our
bells
clients.
now and tell them, please start looking at, go back to January 1st of 2025. Start looking at what money came in, and can you identify easily how much was tips and how much was just regular service income?
Right. Oh my gosh, that is something that everybody needs to be looking into if you are working overtime and those tips. So, I've also had a huge concern from our I-10 community. That's
Mhm.
something that it's close to me. It hits home because I mean, I have family members, friends that do have an I-10,
Mhm.
and now things are going to change for them. For example, the child tax credit.
Yes, the child tax credit. So the rule has been, the law has said you can qualify to receive a child tax credit if your child is a qualifying child, they're under the age of 17, and they have a valid social security number. That was it.
Mm.
Right. And you, of course, they're your
Right.
dependent.
Mhm.
Now, starting in 2025 is when we really have to look into the numbers, the identifying numbers of the parents. Do they have a valid social security number? Not only a social security number, but one that is authorized to work. Because I
Mm.
have seen social security cards that have a stamp that says authorized for work only.
Correct.
But then our follow up question as tax preparers is, are you authorized to work as of today? Do you have a valid work permit today on April 15 or whenever I'm
Wow.
helping you file this tax return?
Yes.
Because the database of the IRS is going to
Mhm.
make sure to check that social security number and make sure that it's a valid number with a working permit that is valid the day of the filing.
Right.
And so if you don't have a social security number and you have an ITIN number, you will no longer qualify to claim the child tax credit, which in 2025 is going to be 2,200. And so you're going to miss out on that. Now, if you do have parents where at least one of them has a social security number, then they do qualify for
Okay,
the
that
child
was
tax
one of
credit.
my questions too that I was going to ask you, because there is parents out there that do have, one of them has an ITIN and the other one has a social security.
Yes.
So that those parents
Those
will
parents,
be able
correct.
to
As
claim
long as
those.
one of them has the valid social
What
security
about for the
number.
earned income credit? Does that apply to them as well?
The earned income credit has been the same,
Same?
no
Okay.
changes to the earned income credit.
Perfect.
I do have a client that they're a married couple, but they're both ITIN holders and they have
Mm.
3 kids. And so my communication to them was back when the bill was passed on 4th of
Mhm.
July, letting them know, brace yourself, save that money because you won't be having a refund like you used to in the past.
Correct.
There might be an amount due with your tax return because that alone in prior years they were able to count to up to $6,000
Right.
for a tax credit, and now they won't be able to. It goes down to the just the $500
Right.
of the other dependent credit for
And
them.
that's just unfortunate because a lot of these families do depend on a refund. They're making plans either for vacation or a down payment for a home, and this is going to
Mhm.
change completely their financials
Oh,
for
for
them.
sure. And
Yeah.
then starting 2026, which is
Hmm.
around the corner, we're,
Correct.
we're
2
around
months
the
away.
corner from 2026, those ITIN holders won't be able to claim education credits either, which
Is
is
that
new. As of
with
2025, you can. So start prepaying that tuition for your spring semester if you're an ITIN holder, because if not, for 2026, if you make that payment, no
what
longer
about
education credits.
DACA students?
Well, they do have a valid social security
So they
number
should
that's
be fine.
authorized to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just those that have the ITIN. Mhm.
Yes. Are those what are your like top 5 concerns? Like I know the earn I'm
Child
sorry, the child tax
tax credit.
credit and then the I-10 change. What other ones that
Yes, the education credit from the one big beautiful bill. What are my
yes.
other? It's more about keeping track of those deductions, making sure we're not missing deductions for our taxpayer
Right.
clients. The which most likely our software hopefully is taking care of most of the thinking for us. Of course, I always say, always trust but verify. We need to make sure that we're checking those amounts that they're flowing to the correct place.
Right,
But the
right.
other two deductions that are coming through is the senior enhanced senior deduction for those taxpayers that are 65 years or over. They qualify for a deduction of up to $6,000.
Okay, okay.
The one that I do think we're going to have a lot of questions. is about the car loan interest. The
Yeah.
car loan interest starting 2025, you can deduct on your tax return up to $10,000 of car loan interest.
They're gonna be like, "I just got it."
Well, I'm very curious, who pays $10,000 of car loan interest at least
Right?
in the year? I think the average person in the US pays like 2,500, but then it comes with limitations too. Like I know the news probably say, "Oh, you're going to get a deduction." It does come with income limitations. You
And
can't be
then
too much of a high income earner because you won't be able to take
right.
those
And
deductions.
it's funny because then it's like you have to repeat yourself all the time. The next, and, with every client, which we love
Yes.
educating. We love educating, and then but also we just need to understand, and just every client is going to be a different situation, and it might be good for them, it might not be good for them.
Correct. They might not qualify,
Correct.
right? Not qualify where they were thinking they were going to qualify for this amazing deduction and they phased it out. The other one, where here in Texas, we don't really see too much of a benefit, is the SALT increase, which is the state and local tax deduction.
Right.
That's if you itemize and you're taking a deduction for those state and local income taxes. They were limited to only 10,000. So it
Gotcha.
really affected those states with the high income tax. We
Mhm.
don't have any type of state income tax here in Texas. So most of our taxpayer clients in Texas were always taking just the standard deduction. They weren't losing much. But those states that are paying lots and lots, like the California, the New York, that limitation went up to 40,000. So it's going to be a
Mm.
great planning tool for them.
Yes. No, it's just everybody just needs to understand, like, their situation, they just have to get with their professional,
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
what can I do? Is this going to benefit me or not? Because
Yes.
I was listening to a podcast this earlier, and they were like, they call it the one big beautiful bill, but honestly, it's just
Is there anything
like,
really beautiful
is there
about it?
exactly? And I'm just like, yeah, you're right.
Hey, those, stimulus checks were more beautiful in 2020,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
So right now, what do you think is going to happen with the IRS, with the government being shut down? I know
Uh,
there's a lot of way that
there is a lot of weight. It's very limited. There are some IRS agents that are, still on the phone able to help, very limited. What I tell my clients, if you owe a balance, you still need to pay that. That will
yes.
not get shut down for you. The interest and the penalties keep occurring every day, regardless if the government is open or not.
Right. And
So
a lot of people
definitely.
are like, "Well, the government shut down, so that doesn't mean I have to pay." I'm like, "No, you do
Yes.
need to pay."
That is not gonna go away.
So that's something that a lot of clients also come to me and they're like, "Well, I got an extension and I have a balance."
Oh, yes.
I'm like, tell us a little bit
Yes.
more. I want
So,
them to hear from you."
everybody has to pay their tax by April 15. And this is, of course, your individual tax.
Correct.
Yes, you can file an extension, but it only extends 6 months your return for you to file a complete tax return. Doesn't extend the amount that you owe. So it doesn't allow you to skip the penalties and interest if you are late and you don't pay on April 15. That's when they are going to start the next day accumulating those penalties on those interests, because we have penalties for late payment and then we have interest occurred on that.
Correct. That is crucial for everybody to understand, because we always have the hey, well, I got an extension, I shouldn't be paying an extension. It is not an extension to pay, it's an extension to file your tax return.
So
So
you've been in this industry for a while. What has been the highest amount of penalty that you have seen a taxpayer get assessed?
So right now, for in our case, it's been a partnership.
Hmm.
So they didn't file the extension,
Oh, they were
nor
late.
they didn't pay. So they were late, and that was a big,
Oh,
and that's another thing. Like, clients come and they're like, "Oh, me and mi compadre, we just started a business and we're
yeah.
both of them together, but I'm just here to do my taxes." And I'm just like, "No, a partnership has to go on a certain uh form,
You're a
the
legit business now,
1065, and
correct?
you are a legit business. You have to file those tax returns. Even if you have three other businesses, you still have to file each
Yes, you still
business
have
tax
to
return."
file the business tax return. Those penalties are pretty high. I think they're up to maybe 275 per month per partner. And
Yeah.
you add those up. And I know there's a first time abatement penalty, but it's a first time. If you make that mistake again, you're not going to be forgiven on that. But yes, I've seen
Yes.
penalties for clients that just really did not pay attention and didn't really file their return. And they just kind of, they said, if I don't think about it, it'll go away. And it
Yeah.
never does. And the penalty was about $12,000. There was no reasonable cause. They had enough money in the bank. There was nothing that we can do to say for a good excuse of why the return and the tax wasn't paid on time.
Oh my
So that
gosh,
really it
yes.
messes up. I could really use those 10,000, 12,
Oh my
12,000,
god,
$10,000
yes.
dollars for something much better than
Absolutely.
paying a
Vacation
penalty.
or
Yes.
something. So, Nadia, tell us a little fun fact about you. I know you
Oh.
are a CPA, you're stuck seeing numbers, doing tax returns and helping the community. I know you're huge on that, but what is a fun fact about you?
I would say a fun fact is definitely that I took the leap to become a self-employed entrepreneur, but it wasn't to run my practice full time. That's a practice, that's a side, what I still have as my side tax practice, but really full time to become a tax educator. And that is my mission is to help other tax preparers, especially those that are not credentialed.
Correct.
And there's a market of uncredentialed tax preparers that really want to understand and really want to learn and start
Correct.
leveling up. And that's the gap that I come in and will love to fill for everyone. But we just launched our masterclass, which is a 10-week
Yay.
masterclass for S Corp returns.
Okay.
And it has been amazing. It fulfills me really to be an educator.
I need to
And
let my team know because
yes.
I have a team, a group of like the team that takes care of S corps. They love S corps, and then I have my other side of team that they hate S
Oh,
corporations. They're like, I don't want to touch that tax return because it's too complicated.
yeah. No,
So
I'll make it fun for
definitely,
them for sure.
yes, and that's something that we need more in the industry as well. That as a tax professional, that somebody that can come and speak our language, right? Like
Hmm.
that we can translate to our clients and give them the proper information once they're doing their tax return or their tax planning as well.
Yes. What has been amazing, which was a very recent experience that I taught in Spanish, and they called me maestra. That warmed my heart. And my mom
Oh,
is a teacher, was a teacher in Mexico. So
really?
that just really lit me up of like, I am an instructor and I love that. And I love teaching others and also love learning. I think we're always going to be students,
Correct. We always have to
especially in
learn.
this industry. You're always going to learn, but the best way to learn is by teaching others what you just learned.
Awesome. Any hobbies that you like
Uh,
to do that
Hobbies that I like to do, honestly, we had a travel trailer that we
oh,
connect to the truck and we take off on road trips, and that has been amazing. It's a different experience traveling the U.S. through the road versus just flying from one destination
right.
to another.
No, and if you think about it, like you get on a flight, it's a whole day. You miss out on a whole day. And it's better just to I mean, sometimes it's better just to drive off and the unplanned is actually the
It
best.
is very much unplanned, and then you stop at these, RV sites, and you get to meet the people there, and sometimes you run into the same people, and it's a different type of community, those that are out camping, we call glamping, of course, it's an RV,
Yes.
and a travel trailer, but we really enjoy it, and we get to see different places around the US.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing a little bit of, the tax information and all that good stuff. But let's go more into Nadia.
Yes.
What would you tell your 18-year-old Nadia or 8-year-old Nadia?
Oh, that's such an
If
interesting question.
yes. No,
Uh,
absolutely, like, because sometimes we're always on the go and
yes.
we don't realize or we don't stop to just see what you have accomplished,
Yes.
right?
Yes, I would definitely tell, little me, especially through the experiences that I went through of these cultural shocks, right? From the big
Correct.
cities to small little
Mhm.
city, is don't be afraid and really embrace it and don't take anything personal. I think that's one of the things that we carry that and we're just thinking it's me. But no, most definitely enjoy those experiences, whether they're good or they're bad. We're gonna come back and learn from those experiences.
Right.
And I would tell her, you're doing amazing because you are finally being that instructor, that educator you've been wanting to be to help the community, especially, which has always been a passion in my heart from a very young age, being the translator to my parents, financial terms, you know what I mean,
Yes,
any medical
absolutely.
terms, anything. We were really trying to figure this out in both languages. And so I will tell that Nadia is you're going to really appreciate that experience and your translation skills are going to grow and evolve and you're going to be able to teach in both languages.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you and I admire you as well. I just want to say thank you so much for everything that you're doing for the community, for us as tax professionals, because sometimes we just need somebody to be there like, no, this is what you need to do. So I want to tell you that I appreciate you and that thank you for being here. And we're going to do cheers
Yes,
because
thank you for having me.
unfortunately our show has come to an end. So thank you. Thank
Till
you.
next time.
Thank you.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Bye.